British Touring Car Championship is back for 2022 and, well, it was an exciting weekend at Donington Park, I think we can all agree. Also, F1 was at Imola, which is one of my favourite tracks, but I wouldn't say that really lived up to the hype, but we'll cover it all in this week's episode of the Final Corner podcast. My name is Colin, and as always I'm joined by Tom and by Nick.
Hello.
Howdy.
First weekend back at British Touring Cars, we previewed it all last week, car by car, driver by driver, paint scheme by paint scheme. What do we think of the first weekend? The first weekend of the hybrid era, of course.
Very good, I thought. Different, but exciting.
Overall, I really enjoyed it. It's the next round that's the acid test, I think, more than anything, because then that's when the qualifying changes and stuff like this, right? So from a cold start, it was really cool, wasn't it? And lots of people were competitive. The racing was close. There was stuff going on. That's what we want to see.
Gamble Watch got off to a great start.
Indeed.
Gamble Watch was brilliant. Yeah, who called that? Was it you, Nick, that said Gamble's going to be the one?
I said Gamble and Ash Hand were the two that I thought would do well. I was half right.
Well, no, pat yourself on the back for Gamble Watch. that got off to way above expectations, I felt there.
Yeah.
It's not as humorous as Smelt Watch.
No.
The podium in the first weekend is not quite the same, but fair play to him. So I think we'll start with British Touring Cars, since I think we all enjoyed it. And you guys actually watched qualifying, which was shown, I think, live on ITV4 this week for the first time.
Oh, was it? I didn't realise I watched it on the internet.
Yes, the same.
I may be wrong. It may just be the internet then. I may be completely wrong. To be fair, you would get better quality streaming it than you would watching standard definition ITV4.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what happened to ITV4 HD. It just disappeared one day and it's never come back for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not there on Virgin anymore.
Oh. Yeah, I don't think I have it either.
Strange.
Do you still have it, Nick?
Yeah, I still have it.
You on Sky?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it must be that. I'm on Virgin and no HD versions of ITV4.
Oof. Yeah. Got a bit of HD touring cars.
It's a pain in the backside where you're trying to look for car numbers and car names.
Yeah.
You're squinting at a really, really bloody picture. It's awful.
If it's not Rick Parfitt, you don't know who it is.
It's because he's not my part in the hedge somewhere. No, sorry, you were talking about his paint scheme. I apologise for that.
Yes.
That was underhand. To start with. It wasn't in any hedges this time, so I apologise. So you guys watched qualifying. Do you want to talk over what you thought of it?
Well, it was mainly a lot of explanations, I thought.
Yeah.
Even when the qualifying started, it was, this is what HEM stands for, and this is how many seconds per lap, but there is a timeout, and da-da-da-da. I felt like on the intro to qualifying, I don't know if you picked up on this, Nick, that when they were explaining the hybrid stuff, they were reading from a script, perhaps?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It was a bit wooden, and the eyes were looking in, not down the camera lens.
Yeah, there was a good few bits of information. It was stuff that was covered in the main race broadcast, but it was still good because for me, it's the first time I'd seen it.
Same. I wasn't knocking that per se, because it was all really useful, and that's kind of the main reason I was watching the qualifying, because I wanted to see how it was all working. But in the end, we got a big fire for Dan Camish, which was spectacular, and very glad that no one was injured.
Yeah, it's a shame that not saying he should have, but he couldn't get the engine or the electrics to turn off before he got out, because rightly so, he just wanted to get out of the car. But that's why the fire just wouldn't go out, because the fuel rail was still pumping fuel because the electric system was still on.
Yeah, so it was on fire for a long time, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
And it was very difficult for everybody to put it out. I would say the marshals were there quickly, and there was a lot of fire extinguishers to hand.
Yeah.
Which is really good. Sometimes you see a marshal get there and they've used the one fire extinguisher, and then that's it. But they seem to have 2, 3, 4 nearby.
Yeah.
And he was not parked right next to the wall, was he? He was in the middle of a gravel trap.
Yeah. He did say, didn't he, that he was looking for a good place to park it. But as soon as he started slowing down, the fire started picking up. And he just decided at that point, get out as quick as he can.
You could see it from the onboard. It's like, oh, there's a fire. oh, okay, there's a really big fire now.
Yeah,
It's like fully engulfing the windscreen, isn't it?
yeah,
So I don't bemoan him. And it seems like they put a whole new front end on overnight,
yeah. It was a good job by the team.
which is incredible. And they obviously had to deliver that, get it and deliver it as well, based on what Ollie Collins was saying.
Mm.
So whoever was doing the driving was doing a good job as well.
Yeah,
And then obviously amazing by everybody to chip in. So that was sort of the big thing. The only thing I really other noticed was, other than explanations of things, was Jade Edwards had a little off, but you didn't see why or how.
yeah,
And Tim Harvey was speculating over that Alan Gow and the series is open to potentially changing car weights
yeah.
based on how it's going, but based on that first weekend, I don't think there's a need for that. But
No,
the
not
theory being,
yet.
yeah, not yet. We'll see. The theory being that all the cars are heavier this year. It's analogous to every car running full ballast, and the pit lane methodology was that the rear-wheel drive cars handled the ballast better. So, could there be a weight break or a rate increase, either or, depending on your drivetrain? But I personally don't think that's necessary so far. So I hope they just are trepidatious with that move, because you don't want to get into all sorts of politics again.
Oh yeah, definitely. It may well turn out to be necessary, but you can't tell from one track and 3 different races.
Exactly.
And it was the BMWs were definitely doing particularly well, but they weren't the only cars.
Yeah, the thing with that as well, for me, was they were there, ready with all their drivers signed, all car upgrades for the cooling installed, even livered up from the very first second of the first test.
Yeah.
And some other teams obviously weren't quite as prepared, and that's also got to be a factor.
Oh yeah.
How like, I'm not saying other teams are less professional, deals and money, that the big sums involved here, right? With sponsorships, it takes time to get it all sorted, and then you have to work out how you're going to feed the new radiators for the hybrid system and all this stuff, right? But it seemed like WSR were on the money straight away, and that's got to be a factor there, I think.
And we did find out one other thing from qualifying. I don't know if you picked up on it, that there's no flags being used, I believe, this whole season, but there wasn't in this race. It's all done by light panels.
I did not pick up on that.
So there's no marshals waving yellow flags, etc. I believe there's still a checkered flag, but that's the only one being used.
Yeah, I did see some marshals complaining online about that on Reddit. Some of them from the Saturday said that they won't come back on the Sunday because, well, they didn't have anything really to wave.
Yeah.
They were just waiting on the light panels, and they were concerned that people were either ignoring the light panels, didn't see the light panels, or weren't aware that flags weren't being used on the Saturday. So they had incidents in some of the sporting races where basically people were flying through a chicane with a car parked on the inside with yellow lights going, but they didn't know about it.
Yeah.
And just went straight through it. Well, there's people there. So there was things like that happening on the Saturday. So
Let's say the lights don't work, though. Surely a marshal needs to be there with a flag as a redundancy.
You would think so.
And also presence for in case there's a fire, or people need extricating and things like this. So there's still definitely a need for a marshal, but I suppose it's just less on edge. They've got to really be watching it all the time to then put the flag out, maybe. I don't
think
know.
as well, though, you also have the marshals that did the flag waving while the others would go to the incident.
That's true.
If you see what I mean. So it's sort of taking one job away from them. And to me, I think the flags work better anyway. There's nothing wrong with having the light boards, but I think a flag is more obvious when you suddenly see someone start waving something. You catch that movement out of your eye more, I think, than a flashing light.
I thought the lights came in as like an additional thing as a result of that horrific crash in the wet qualifying at Croft a few years ago. Was it Luke Davenport in the shredded wheat Focus?
I forgot he was a thing.
Yeah. Was it? I think he was badly injured and then has never come back in BTCC since, unfortunately.
Yeah, I totally forgot.
Yeah, I don't want to go into that too much. But I feel like as a result of that, they were like, oh, well, now we're going to have these LED boards, which should be more visible, especially in poor conditions or in places where there's no flag post.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't aware that they're actually that's the full system. So that's one to watch. Well, I don't want to jump ahead for race 1, but there was a scenario there. I don't want to say that was a part of that.
Yes, I thought
We'll cover that in a bit. One final point about qualifying, Colin. It's just me and Nick are having a ramble here. Sorry.
I'm more than happy, and I'm sure the listeners are more than happy not to hear my voice.
They don't want to either hear mine too much, I've realised. That Plato may not retire.
Yes, yeah.
Because he's got a decent car. He doesn't want to. Oh, dear.
The condition is if he gets to 99 wins, he might not.
Right, fair enough.
Which is fair enough, but
Fair enough.
it did make me laugh like you just did there. When I heard that. But going into qualifying, when Steve Ryder interviewed him, he said it brakes better than any touring car that I've driven for many years, and also I have to say it's a great car. So that's
he's not going anywhere.
There's no excuses there in some respects. Although I've got another point on that later. That's qualifying, I think. Is that fair?
Well,
yeah, pretty much.
I could tell you the results if you'd like.
Oh, yeah, that would actually make a lot more sense.
Jake Hill took pole from Tuckerton, Sutton, Ingram, and then George Gamble, P5.
Whoop whoop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sheridan 6, Jerry 7th, Morgan, Robot, and Plato running at top 10, and Ricky Collard in 11th. I thought it was quite good. I was a little bit disappointed with Aidan Moffat, way down 23rd. And Rory Butcher as well, down 26.
He had a problem.
Yeah.
He went out for a lap early on, then I think he broke a drive shaft. They got it fixed, but only in time for him to get out right at the end with no time to actually set up a good lap.
He just did the one lap where it's like you warm your tyres up and then they come into the pits and switch them around.
Yeah.
So that's why it's 3 seconds off. I would say Dexter Patterson, I don't know what happened to him. I saw that qualifying result and I thought, oof, that's bad. But in the races, he definitely was on par with Moffat.
Exactly. I thought the same.
So I'm not fully sure what was going on there. The other interesting thing I thought here was every BMW is in the top 8. So I was saying about, maybe it's just the testing and stuff.
Yeah.
It does look a bit ominous. But the top 4 is still covered by less than a tenth.
Yeah, and the top 4 is also only one BMW, and the others are front-wheel drive cars. Oh, no, it's not. It's where I'm looking. Sorry. Yeah, I'm actually looking at a website here that has listed Jake Hill as still running a Ford Focus.
Oops.
Yeah, they got that one wrong.
Yep. I mean, the BMW's always carried the weight well, so now they're effectively running at full ballast. They're already at an advantage to start with.
It was still very pleasing that it was very, very close to the Focus and the Hyundai.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Ash Sutton's performance in third to be that close. He also said he messed up the hybrid procedure in his opinion, deployment even, is very encouraging, and it just shows what we've been saying. All three of us have been saying for a while, that he's a supremely talented driver. To hop straight into that car and nearly put it on pole in round 1 is proper job. But the top Toka engine is in 10th, and it's Jason Plato.
Yeah.
Everybody else there runs their own, above him, runs their own developed engine. Well, third party supplied, but you know what I mean. It's not the Toka engine.
Did the Jason Plato straight line speed sweepstake come in this week then?
Not that I saw.
No, I don't think it did. So Nick suggested it would be at round 1, right? First race. Didn't quite happen. But before the first race, Jason Plato's teammate did allude to it. So you're going to get half a point there. Josh Cook said on the internet somewhere. Actually, it's the Pitch BTCC YouTube channel. No, I've written it down here, but I can't read my own handwriting. That doesn't help, does it? We need to find a bit with our internal combustion engine. I thought that was a very telling way of saying it. And then towards the end, he says something like, "We just need to find a bit more." I think is what it says. But before he says that sentence about the internal combustion engine, he said, "Oh, we've got a great team, a great chassis, and a great new manager." and Plato's got experience, but we need to find a bit with our internal combustion engine. So, I do believe that to be the case. The journalist Neil Hudson, who is he's a journalist Touring Car Times, but I think he's living as a press officer. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone. But he posted, it was only from free practice, these straight line speed things, and the first M Sport car was speed traps, and the first M Sport car, who develops a new turbo engine, is not that high. There is at this track, it seems like as the season progresses, that may or may not be a topic of debate.
Yeah, it's still early days for that engine, I suppose. There could be
very
more
much
to come, just from how it's installed or things like that they could work around. But yeah, I'm not sure what happened to Josh Cook in qualifying. Actually, I know he had some kind of issue which hampered him, but I don't know why.
I don't know why either, and I would say that was a lowly performance. But if there was an issue, I'm gonna, I don't want to bag on it too much. Here we go. I've got the speed traps from Neil Hudson from qualifying, and the fastest M Sport car down a straight line is Rick Parfitt. I'm just going to work out what position he was there. Bear with me a second. Talk amongst yourselves, feel free.
Yeah. Well, he qualified in 25th.
9th. So it's not the end of the world. And then there's Josh Cook a few positions behind. But you could also flip it around the other way and say everybody but one in the bottom half is the new turbo engine.
Yeah.
And speed traps. Although Jack Patel's right at the bottom. I don't know if there was an issue there. Because then Tom Ingram's third. Also, I'm not fully aware of whereabouts this speed trap is on the circuit, and you do have to factor in different circuit layouts and how they've exited a corner
and how they've used their hybrid.
But it seems like Neil Brown and Swindon have dominated. And yes, very good point. There's also the hybrid factor. But M Sport, no, whichever way you look at it, the Toyota, the Infiniti, there's a mistake there. It says Speedworks Hyundai.
No.
The Cupras, they're all down the bottom.
That's Swindon Hyundai, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also not run by Speedworks. Anyway, I digress.
There was one other thing I wanted to check as well, actually. Jumping ahead slightly, but in race 2, I heard them say that Adam Morgan had no hybrid. But was that for the whole weekend, or
yes.
was it just from that point?
I don't know. It could have been in race 1, but it wasn't mentioned.
Okay.
It certainly was for race 2 and 3.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I'd missed it earlier. That's when I first heard it.
Right, so the hybrid system is linked, or maybe linked is not the right word, right? But it's associated with that. I made it even worse. Just say linked to the gearbox and the transmission, right? And he had a transmission issue, which meant they could change gears, but the hybrid system wasn't functional. So it was. I don't think it was necessarily the batteries failed or the electric motor failed. It was how it interfaces with the transmission.
Yeah.
Because one thing I did see in the coverage was how have either of you seen how they run in electric only mode in the pit lane?
Yeah.
Yes, and then you need to bump start it at the end, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which came back to haunt someone later.
I think that's what happened to Adam Morgan when they bump started it, wasn't it? Didn't
it
break something?
Quite possibly.
Yeah, and was it not one of the Fords as well? It killed. It killed one of the drive shafts or something like that.
Maybe that's
that
what I'm thinking
Jelly.
of. What?
Was that
Jelly. Yeah. You're right. I'm thinking of Jelly, where the actual part came out of the car, didn't it?
Yes.
Tim Harmey said he believed it was the prop shaft.
Yeah.
Which is a slightly major part to have falling off the car.
I mean, it was a big lump of metal. That if that was racing speed, that's not ideal, is it? But yeah, they press the buttons to say it can be on EV, and then they have to have the clutch pedal down to run it, and then obviously at the end when they find the biting point, it bump starts it into internal combustion. Very strange.
Yeah, it must be weird driving down the pit lane with your foot on the clutch but still using the throttle.
Yeah, like sim racing. Weird. Anyway, we probably should talk about race 1.
Yeah, probably.
But there's just so much to talk. There's just so much difference to talk about. It's very interesting, I think.
So race 1.
Yep.
Both BMWs got a decent start, but Tuckerton goes round the outside of turn 1 to take the lead. and then it just looks a bit mad behind. It's a it's a nice reminder of what touring cars is. We've got 28 cars squabbling for a tiny little bit of road. Sutton got a decent start, but I think Ingram dove up the inside at the top of the hill, managed to take third, and Sheridan started to make some moves up, and I think eventually got up to 6. Anything from the start you want to pick up?
Well, the start was cool, but it was like the lap or two later when Hill was just like, I'm going for it.
Yeah. Which is great to see.
We get a flash shot of Rick Parfitt off, but don't really know what happened there. He was just off and returning. The usual, but didn't see what actually happened. Hill then challenged Tuckington and managed to get up the inside the old hairpin, but had the biggest lock-up ever.
I thought, oh, he's going off.
Yeah.
Don't know how he made the apex there.
He did great to keep it in, but that let Turton get back up the inside. Hill get hung out to dry on the outside at the top of the hill before Ingram managed to nick past both of them and take the lead.
Yeah,
and I think Sutton got past Hill as well.
Yeah, he was in the mix there, wasn't he?
Yeah, Hill ended up 5th after being first.
Which is important, though, because the fact that they're run by the same team, but they're backed by different sponsors.
Yes.
And Hill can be a real thorn in Turkington's side, can't it? It perhaps makes the championship not quite as straightforward. Oh, and by the way, I completely got it really wrong on the preview episode by saying that, Hill, he's going to have to take a year to bed into that car.
Yeah.
Da.
Pole position.
Whereas you, Nick, were like, nah, he's going to be on it. So fair play. You got Gamble and Hill right, so well done.
Yeah, the Oracle.
The Oracle.
Yep. Yeah, that was a great bit of racing there. Hill just made a mistake going outside. And his lock-up, obviously. We then get race 1, the first dodgy safety car of the year, in true BTCC style.
Yeah.
I wasn't anyone that thought it was dangerous then.
No,
Nope.
It was a shocker.
That was really, really bad.
It was right after this fight, wasn't it, with Hill and Turkington and everyone? Coming down the pit straight, and Ricky Collard's parked up on the opposite side of the pit lane, but basically at the pit exit, with marshals at his car.
Yeah.
We then cut to a shot of the pit lane, and they've obviously seen the safety car boards at the start line, I think. Which means that there's 26 cars barreling along that straight and suddenly slamming on the brakes. Which...
I was sat there waiting for the impact.
Yeah. So sketchy. I mean, the thing about that is Ricky Collard's obviously almost a lap down, so his car has been there for a while.
Yep. Yeah,
Now,
that's my main takeaway from it as well.
Yeah.
Whether it was trundling along and suddenly just stopped at that point, but surely you have to throw something out if there's a car looking like it's going to get stranded. But we're not safe race directors or clerks of the course, but that just felt so dodgy.
It's going back to the thing we was talking about with the yellow flags. If there was flags there, would that have made that more obvious than just a light? Because I don't even know if there's a light board there.
Well, the problem is stuff like that is in this is glossed over, and I don't think we'll ever publicly be able to know anything of like, was there an investigation? What happened?
Yeah.
You know, what I would say is, I don't want to bring up Formula One again at the end of last year, but at least we were able to like hear radio messages and conversations, and there was a thorough inquiry, and journalists were finding every information, and you just won't get it for this scenario.
No. But there was one crash during that safety car. I don't know if you picked up on that.
No.
Rory Butcher went straight into the back of, I think it was Ollie Jackson.
Now, is that on the vision? Because I didn't spot it at the time.
Yes.
I only saw the big damage to the Toyota, and he obviously then retired.
Yeah, that's where the damage came from.
I'm just watching it now. Oh, yeah, and it is there. He drives straight into the back of him.
It's not obvious, but you can see it.
No. Now that you've mentioned it, you can see it. I'll tell you what just happens before then. I think, is it Plato or Cook? One of the Rich Energy BTC cars. Wow.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Pick up on it
it's
at all, does
Plato.
it?
No, he's right behind someone though, and he's got to run.
Yeah, and heads towards Collard's car, doesn't he? before he realises what's happening.
Goodness me, there's marshals there and everything.
Like this is the only reason I'm picking up on it is because it's a persistent problem in BTCC throughout all the last season and the season before. There's got to be a better safety car procedure than whatever they've got now. Whether they need lights in the car if they've not already got them, whether they need instant radio messages, whether they need more flag marshals, whether they need more people watching around the circuit with radios to tell the clerk of the course or whatever. It needs to be improved because this is in the year and a half we've been doing this. This is the fourth or fifth one. That we've had to say that was well sketchy.
And that's not a controversial opinion.
No,
it's a very serious safety concern. Safety is not a flippant thing or an axe to grind.
Not when you've got volunteer marshals on track as well.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not on board with putting them at risk. I mean, there was one at Silverstone at the Wuffield. There was marshals on the outside of the first part of that, and there was nothing on track, and people were still racing last year. And that was when you get stuff like that, and then stuff like this, which could have been a massive pile up. It's just we've got to find a better way of doing it.
Something was awry there, and let's hope it never happens again. But as you say, there is some track record recently. Wasn't there at Knock Hill last year as well? There was some late call there. I felt someone was in the gravel over the top of the chicane.
Yeah, I was standing there. There was one in the Porsche as well, where a car stopped at the top there, and half a lap, no yellow flags. People going past them. It was the minis, but there was, we need to get better.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm sure there's lots of hard work put into it as well. And I don't want to diminish anyone's efforts, but it's this scenario again. Something's not quite working.
Yeah, I don't know if there's like the equivalent of a race director or if it's done by like course officials. I don't know.
There'll be the clerk of the course, but I don't know if he's the one that controls that. I imagine it would be. Hopefully the last time we raise it this year.
Yeah.
Yep. Here's hoping. Anyway.
Restart and Ingram manages to hold the lead. Hill then managed to take Sutton a couple of laps later up the hill after the old hairpin for third. And then we see the motorbase start to fade. Both Camish and Sutton to start to drop back. Which must be a tyre setup issue, or they've not got that car where they need to, basically.
They were chewing Dunlops quicker than Volts, but the focus.
Goodyears.
Oh, it's Goodyears. Oh, that would have almost been interesting, wouldn't it?
Sorry.
Damn it. That's a good point.
Tom's been saving that one since Saturday as well.
I think I even tweeted it and I got it wrong then. Bloody hell. Brilliant. Goodyears, very good point. So that was a persistent issue last year when Jake Hill was driving the car, was at certain venues. I remember, was it Snetterton? It just destroyed the tyres and he just fell back and back. It's not to that extent at the minute, but there seems to be an inherent tyre wear thing that they need to get their heads around. Because it was obvious, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was driving defensive with Sutton. And Camish stopped making progress.
Yeah, because he was doing
I don't think
well.
Camish made that much progress in net by the end of the race.
No. He started off quite well, made up some places, and then just seemed to stall out totally.
Yeah, he got behind the... my notes say Terry Crews, but it's not Terry Crews, it's Michael Crease. So that's a great autocorrect. Well done. So Michael Crease and Aaron Taylor-Smith were fighting for a good few laps, and he got as far as there, and then just went backwards as well.
And you thought he was going to go past him, and then it cut away from it. Then it came back, and he'd been overtaken by an Infinity as well, hadn't he? He'd fallen further back, and it was like, oh dear.
Yeah. Then we get what could be quite an important moment towards when we do the final tally at the end of the season. Jake Hill closes up in the back of Turkington, but then he clatters the tyres at the final chicane, trying to cut it too much, and picks up quite big damage to his front right of the car, which in the laps after, his pace is really inconsistent. But then, the big moment after the race, he fails the right height check and is completely excluded for this. So it's a whole haul of points gone already for Jake Hill from that one race.
Yeah, and he claims it wasn't, or he claims it was damage, which it clearly seems to be because it was on one side. But the official's ruling was that it was not damage inflicted because they would ignore it if that's the case. How they came to that decision, I don't know.
They don't normally ignore damage, don't they? Because people have been excluded for bumpers hanging off and everything before.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. The rules apparently say that if it's damage, it can be overlooked. You know, they don't have to enforce the ride height, but it's down to their discretion if they feel. Oh, mind you, there's a clause as well that says if they say the damage is self-inflicted, it can go against you still, rather than someone else hitting you.
This is definitely self-inflicted.
Yeah, so that could be something for it as well, I suppose.
Wasn't aware of that. Sorry. What do you think to the track limits at the chicane? Because Roberts is it called? It was hard to tell from the main camera angle, but the drivers were driving up to the tyres and not up to the curb, so therefore it was four wheels off the track, basically. Which I personally didn't really mind.
No, I couldn't really see on that, to be honest.
Well, what you can do is look at Ash Sutton's social media, where he shared a cool picture, which then got people saying, "Are you going to use the grey bit tomorrow?" It was from like qualifying, I think. If I just show you this image now, here we go. So that's the line through the chicane.
Nice.
Ah, yes, I see what you mean. The second part of the chicane in particular.
Yeah, the second part is like not even close to being on the asphalt, but from the camera angle on the broadcast, you can't really see that.
What I would say is it's a good thing there is at least tyres at some point there, because cool, they would ignore it completely.
Yeah.
Well, it's just weird that old hairpin, if you run wide there's pressure pads.
Yeah.
But you can cut the chicane, basically.
The other thing from that picture that I just picked up on was mentioned in qualifying as well, wasn't it? That Ash Sutton's running a gold number plate to represent number 1.
Yes, I had that written down.
Yeah,
that is
I've forgotten
the reigning
about that,
champion.
I just saw it there. I don't know if that's a new thing or not, but
I don't know. But then I was, they changed the colour wood around last year, didn't they? Because it was some anniversary or something. I don't know if that's a new thing or not. No, but it was the first time I took note. Let's say.
Yeah.
And then on the last lap, Jason Plato got a puncture.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was cause or effect, but I believe it was a puncture that caused him to go off, rather than he went off and caused a puncture.
Yeah, right. So the puncture had happened, and there was a bit of audio, not an interview. You could hear him talking to his team saying it just went in a straight line, nothing, no vibrations. But the front of the car was damaged before then, and the rear of Rowbottom's car was damaged. And off camera, Plato did make a position, pure speculation, which cannot be, I don't think, investigated, because the tyre, when it burst, obviously shredded the front wheel arch and stuff. But if you watch carefully on the race, the front left corner of his car is damaged, and then that's the tyre that lets go. So I'm not suggesting anything, but if you can do the maths on that yourself.
Eagle-eyed, Tom. It's
all right. But I felt sorry for him that he got a puncture, because I think that he could have built a good weekend from there.
Yeah.
And he was the leading M-Sport powered car still in the race. He'd made a position. He'd driven sensibly to the whatever caused the contact, I suspect. And it didn't work out. Still crossed the line though, eh?
Yeah.
Got to get ahead of that Rick Parfit guy. Get that one position on the grid.
Yeah. But it was 20th in the end. In the race, obviously, Jake Hill was disqualified. We lost Ricky Collard, Rory Butcher, Ollie Jackson, and Jack Buttel. He retired. I think, all weekend.
Yeah, there was some mechanical or technical issue on the Buttel car. By the looks of things, all we saw was him pulling off.
Yeah.
Ollie Jackson had some malady as well, didn't he?
I think, going back from what we said before, Rory Butcher went into the back of Ollie Jackson.
Oh, you did.
And I'm guessing it was some kind of damage from that. Is what eventually made him retire. But that's just speculation. But
yeah. Oh, it's like me speculating over the puncher.
But Ingram took the win with Tucker in second, and Gordon Shedden was third. George Gamble ended up finishing 6th, which I thought was great on his debut race.
Yeah.
And I thought Aaron Taylor-Smith had a pretty eventful weekend. He was actually in the points again.
Both him and Thompson were really good all weekend, I thought.
Those Clipperds were pretty decent.
They did. Apart from Taylor-Smith backing it in like a MotoGP rider at times.
Yeah.
What is this, Formula Drift or British Touring Cars?
Yeah.
It must have been a brake bias thing, right?
He done it a few times at the top of the hill, but it wasn't. It didn't look very stable.
Yeah, a couple of times you cut to him and you're like, oh, he's been hit by the person behind him, and it's like, oh no, they were nowhere near him.
Was Jake Hill was banned at one point, and you thought, oh, he's punted him off?
Yeah.
Nope. Thank goodness for the onboard camera.
Yeah.
So, race 2, our first race with the, what would you call it, the hybrid ballast system in place? Hybrid restrictions?
I don't know if there is an official name. We'll roll with that.
Balance performance. It's not really that either, but...
No. Weird.
But yeah, Jake Hill still had the same issue, didn't he? Because he was disqualified, he had to do this race with the equivalent of the third place penalty, shall we say.
Yep.
That's a painful one. I always think that's harsh, but them's the rules. So, big drama at the start of this one. Tuckenden doesn't move. And everyone does brilliant to avoid him.
Yeah.
But it eventually gets it going, but it just didn't happen.
Don't know what happened there either. And this is where Jelly broke down on the warm-up lap as well. Formation lap. Yeah. Well, luckily there was a second time in this race meeting that there wasn't a big accident on the home straight there.
Yep. And George Gamble's up to second at the start. What a start for the young man.
With a lovely move around the outside as well.
Superb, wasn't it?
It's on Shedden, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. You don't get to see that very often.
No. Sutton dropped down to 5th and was leaning quite heavily on Josh Cook to keep him behind at one point. Moffat gets a decent start up to 11th. Then Dan Lloyd pushes Bobby Thompson out quite wide at the old hairpin.
Oh, yeah. That was a good fight, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we see Dan Rowbottom get past Aaron Taylor-Smith in one of his mad moments of the weekend.
Yep.
Cook then eventually does get Sutton down the hill. It's kind of similar to race 1. Sutton doesn't have race pace in the motor base. I think there was during this one the commentators were talking, he's trying to get the same squidginess in the suspension that he had in the... Was it the Infinities last year?
Yeah.
And the Subaru before that.
And the Subaru before, yeah. Try to get the same feel in the Ford, but they're struggling to get there so far.
It's quick. He's adapted the driver's time very well, but over a race distance.
It's quite worrying for the other teams. Sorry, Tom.
Yes. You're right. No, after you.
Just saying that he has the pace he has with a car he's not happy with. Well, not happy, might be pushing it a bit, but that he feels he can get a lot more out of.
I would say in this one, Plato was making good progress and then stalled. But still 13th is good from 20th in this grid, I thought.
Yeah.
And Bobby Thompson got Dan Lloyd back again, which I don't want to sound bad, but you didn't really see many Coopers last season being able to then have the pace to retake a position, even if they'd got a good reverse grid draw. Fighting two of them fighting for top 10 positions, not in race 3 with a system where there's no ballast is pretty impressive.
Yes, which makes it more appealing for a potential person for the 4th car as well.
I think so. Yeah, hopefully they do get a deal for that sorted. And Butcher did really well, low key under the radar to get into the top 10 from starting basically last, I think.
Yeah, I didn't see him at all. Pretty much.
You didn't see him, but he's there somehow.
Yeah, you saw him once down at the old airport when him and Taylor Smith.
And that was awkward because he went. Like Taylor Smith was like coming in hot, and I think Butcher overreacted to that and left him too much space, and then got on the dirty line. That's my interpretation of what happened there.
Yeah, you saw that on board for Rowbottom, who had picked up a bit of front damage as well at some point in that fight.
Oh, they did show why he did thump the back of Taylor Smith, I think, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but then Taylor Smith got back anyway later, so I don't think it was a deliberate redress, but it felt like a bit of a touch and go move to start with, but it was spun around anyway, so it doesn't matter.
lost Ricky Collard again, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We also lost Camish in this race. And then we got a great fight for the lead between Shedden and Ingram. Shedden pulled the switch back at the old hairpin, and then both of them were using the hybrid up the straight. It was the camera was at the right side, so you could actually see the light on this, which makes you wonder why did they not stick a big beacon on the roof or something like that rather than the back window. But at least there's something to show you, so I'm not going to complain.
I think we were saying before during qualifying. I said something like, it's a bit of a weird position for it. But Nick made a good point that it's good for spectators at the track, right?
Yeah,
to have it on the side. But the TV graphics, even though they are new and they are there, the light on the car would be more obvious, I think.
Yes. Because you kind of have to think, are they using it? Look over to the thing.
Yes.
And then
you're like, what position? You don't know necessarily what position they're in at that point. So you're like, where are they on the list? What's the abbreviation for their surname? Oh, it doesn't matter. The 10 seconds is already up, or 15 seconds already up.
I did think the TV graphics were pretty good because it was first weekend, and BTCC have a record of new graphics not functioning. But these ones were perfect. There was no real issues.
Yeah,
they all worked and they were well thought through. I have two minor weird things. Obviously, in the first lap, it's not there.
Yes,
but you can't use the hybrid anyway, so that's not too bad. But there's a couple of times, and Tim Harvey actually David Addison, one of them got caught out as well by this. And that is some of the numbers count up and not down. I'd rather it said they've got 11.3 seconds of the 15 left than they've used 11.3 of the 15.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it counting down as to how much they've got left.
Yeah, definitely.
Because then I'd have to go, oh, right, they've used 10.27, so how much have they got left? I have to work that out.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a reason for that, and there's probably been a big conversation over that. But then to see the commentator team do the same mistake I was doing was reassuring in that, okay, maybe it could be done in a slightly different way.
Yeah, and they had got confused as well by the number of laps remaining. They were taking it, I think Tim Havre at one point was taking it, people have used, some people will say like 0, it was 6. And he took it, they've used all the hybrid, but then David Addison went, no, they've actually not used anything, they're saving it all for the end.
Yes, because that number counts up and not down as well. It's not how many they've got left, it's how many they've completed.
How many they've used or are
doesn't
using.
make too much sense. Yeah, doesn't make too... Well, it's logical, but I would prefer it the other way around. Maybe that's a slight tweak they can do.
I think now that we know, we're probably...
Yeah,
probably okay. But
yeah, true.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain. They worked. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. It's constructive feedback and a personal preference more than anything.
Yeah. So Jen takes the lead and the win, and then Jake Hill makes a good recovery. Aaron Taylor-Smith has another massive moment at the top of the hill and lets him past. And George Campbell takes third in his second ever touring car race.
Super.
So very well done to him.
Yeah, Jake Hill, back of the grid to 9th. That was epic.
Yeah, it was forceful in some moves. I seem to remember he drove into someone's door up at Coppice, but in a British touring car way, not a push to the pass sort of.
Yeah.
Adam Morgan fourth with no hybrid is
fascinating
because it shows that the hybrid is not the be all and end all.
Indeed.
No, but just what I find is going to be quite interesting to watch over the next few races is the lack of hybrid in qualifying and races for the championship leader actually going to act in the same way that Ballast did.
Yes.
Yeah, the next round is key to get a gauge for that. But with it being hybrid, you can easily tweak with software up or down the number of laps or...
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm struggling there. Blah, 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 blah. I nearly said the amount of power that they can put out, but that's not how it works. Sorry. Yeah. It can be changed relatively straightforward, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the BTCC website here with the results, and because the 330 the BMW has been renamed 330e for this season.
Yeah.
But then sometimes they revert back to 330i. It's very confusing here.
Yeah, it is.
And also Jade Edwards finished 19th twice.
Oh, that's what you mean.
Yeah.
And then we had the draw for pole. And
Alan.
I noticed something there, which either I've never noticed before or it's new for this year, is that there were 6 drivers to be pulled out of the bowl. And there were many more than 6 balls in there.
Oh, was there really? I watched
Yeah.
that and did not pay attention to that.
Possibly as many as 12, which would make sense because then it was 2 for each driver, maybe.
Oh, that is definitely different.
But yeah, I'm sure it never used to be like that.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Have they just got number 12 in there 10 times?
Yeah, possibly.
So it's between 6 and 12 they've got in the ball, or 7th and 12.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's 6 potential drivers that can be pulled out, or 6 numbers. But yeah, there was definitely at least 10 in there. It was hard to count them.
I'm gonna, we've got ball watch for next week's episode.
Yeah, we'll be on it.
So, race 3 then. I can't remember who was on what pole. Was it Hill?
It was Jake Hill.
Hill. He managed to keep the lead off the start. Cook managed to take third from Ad Morgan, no tearpin, which I thought Morgan's doing brilliant to be up there with no hybrid. But
Yeah.
as you just mentioned, great. Sutton then pressurised Lloyd down the hill. Lloyd tries to put him on the grass, which seems to be his tactic.
Yep.
Sutton kept it pinned and managed to get up the inside of the hairpin to take second. There's then a big sketchy moment for Jason Plato going down the hill as
Holy
having
moly.
Duckington touch.
Yeah.
Good catch, Jason. Very good
well
catch.
Yeah, well,
So he ended up dropping down to 12th.
could have been worse. Could have been upside down.
Yeah.
Hell of a car control to get that back.
It reminded me a
was,
little bit of Keith O'Dore in the Tonka Shootout. Was it 92? Where he went sideways there and then but speared off to the left and then actually vaulted the fence.
Yes, I
That's
remember.
a slight exaggeration.
I could see Colin glazing over slightly at that point, but yeah, I remember it.
I wasn't born, so I'm not going to remember the bloody
It's
thing.
a bad accident. Unfortunately, it was okay, but like
Yeah.
just sideways at the wrong point there.
Yes.
You can, if you don't catch it correctly, you spear off left, and it's not ideal.
George Gamble's great weekend then comes apart a little bit. He gets a drive-through for something to do with the start. None of us really know what.
No.
I've had a look online and I can't find any news stories about it. So,
Nope.
well, that's us. We'll keep in the dark with that one.
Yeah, Chilton
Yeah.
also went in the pits at that point. Not that that meant much for how he was doing this weekend.
Oh, and he had an issue with race 2. I don't think he started race 2, did he either?
I'm not
I
sure.
think he started, but I don't think he finished.
Yeah, he had an okay race 1, but then didn't finish 2 or 3, I think.
Yeah.
Race 2, he was 2 laps down, so he must have retired.
Right.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing Chilton at all the weekend.
No.
He's there in race 1, just outside the top 10 fighting positions, I think. But
Yep.
something mechanicals happened. Oh, did he get a puncture at one point? Okay,
Something
not going to
happened.
speculate. We don't know. Yeah, sorry, can't
No.
remember.
Rick Parfitt then got a 5-second penalty for a false start, so I'm assuming George Gamble didn't have a false start.
Yeah, that's what confused
Okay.
me. The difference there. Full start and start mile infringement.
It could have been out of position.
Yeah. There was a car that looked well out of position when you looked at the Rick Parfitt replay, but I don't know who it was.
Yeah.
I should have checked that.
Oh, I'll look it up while you.
The Rick Parfitt replay, by the way, was awesome. Seeing the start that he got from that little extra.
It was mad, wasn't it?
It went straight past about 6 or 7 cars.
Brilliant.
It must be difficult to see the lights from. I don't mean that in a derogatory sense, but anyone who's further down the grid.
Yeah.
It must be quite challenging to see.
Big dive up the inside turn 1 from Cook, but Dan Lloyd managed to hold him off.
It was a
I
good
thought
dive.
Lloyd-
It was a good dive.
was.
It was Jason Plato 2004, but he didn't pull it off.
We didn't. Cook defended brilliantly all race until the end, basically. Bobby Thompson then got past Gordon Sheridan, but it looked like there was a bit of contact there to allow that. And then Tuckington passed them both.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see an on board of that, but it looked like Bobby Thompson might have given him a little push.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was something.
Yeah. Aaron Moffat then slows down and pits. Michael Crease drops down in order for some reason. I think he drops about 5 places in a lap.
Who? Sorry,
Crease. Michael Crease.
Creasy.
Is that what- Grease.
Creasy.
Greasy.
Creasy. Then Dan Lloyd's brilliant defence goes to pot on his penultimate lap, I think.
Yeah.
Didn't he drive so well until that point, though? It
Yeah.
literally was defending the podium for the whole race.
Yeah, it goes really defensive into turn one, which lets Cook get the cut back. Dan then puts him fully on the grass, which fair play to Josh Cook. He kept his foot in.
That was sketchy, though.
That could have been an airplane crash.
Yeah.
But he keeps his foot in it, gets up the inside, the old hairpin, and takes the podium place, which must have been gutting for Lloyd.
Yeah.
But just that one over defence into turn one, Josh Cook must have been rubbing his hands as he's seen him dive to the inside.
Yeah.
Because he's defending that position from lap 4. In fact, Cook has the big Plato-esque dive on lap 6, but it doesn't work out. And then it's not until, lap 15 that anyone gets past him. So, I mean, it's still impressive. It's still a really good drive, but yeah, just over-egged it a bit there.
It's good to see him in that position, though.
It's, oh my God, you're so right about the car being out of position.
Yeah, who is it?
It's Ollie Jackson. He's not even in a grid box.
No, he's just randomly packed up. He's like, this'll do me.
Yeah.
Oh my word, he's not even close. I will share my screen to those.
You do get a lot of that at the back of BTCC grids, I've noticed.
Yeah, but this
Ones
is
that
not.
just seem to dump it wherever they like.
How is this not a penalty? Look at that. Where is he?
He's behind his line.
Oh, yeah.
He's a car and a half behind where he should be.
He's alongside Buttel, who's the road behind.
Yeah.
He maybe just wanted a cooler look at the lights or something, but that's what I saw with the Rick Parfit. I was like, that can't be right.
Curious though,
That's
not a penalty
so-
because he's penalising himself for starting further back.
Well, yeah,
rather
true.
than forward. I don't know.
But Jelly's just behind him. Doesn't that affect Jelly's start? I don't
True.
know.
Very true.
Ollie.
That's not even.
Do you remember a few years ago when Jason Plato was out of position at a start, I think at Brands Hatch or something, and he went on this big 5-minute
Thruxton.
interview tirade. Thruxton.
But that's forward of the box.
Yeah, where they put tape on the wall, then they put tape on inside the windscreen to line them up, and
Yeah.
the tape was out of position. But he must have been looking out the wrong window, Ollie, if he's managed to get that far back. That's not like, it was a couple inches out, that sounds too far forward. He's like 6 metres behind where he should be.
Goodness me. You've made my evening there. It's so funny. It's so bad.
Oh dear, poor Ollie. So, race 3, Jake Hill redemption from race 1.
Yeah.
Took the win. Sutton second, so they obviously got that car better throughout the weekend.
Yes, they definitely
Managed to get the
improved it.
setup in a better place. And Josh Cook managed to get a third at the end of it.
Chipped away all
Big up.
weekend.
Yep. Big ups to Tom Ingram, who was super consistent. Got a fifth in the last one. And Ricky Collard managed to recover for a point. Which I thought was well played to him.
Yeah. And the interesting thing, I think, is that we're talking about Sutton's challenges, and he's come out and says there's still work to do, but he's right up there in the points. Right up there in the points. So, not even close to saying all is not lost. He's still right in contention there. But Tom Ingram, obviously the star of the show across the 3 races. Well done.
Well done.
So one thing I picked up on over the weekend, which is just me being an idiot, I've realised. Do you know Starkeys? Which is the old bridge.
Mm-hmm.
How there was always an advertising hoarding that went across the track, which I think might have
Has it
been
got
a walkway.
SpongeBob on it now?
No. But I suddenly thought to myself, I haven't seen that this year, and I wonder where that's gone. And when I looked into it, that's been missing since 2013.
Is that? Were you thinking of a bridge?
No, not the bridge, not the bridge on the back straight.
Oh, okay.
Actually, it's sort of like it goes across the track, but it was just like an advertising hoarding that they drove under as they went past Starkeys.
Oh, right. I don't remember that. Sorry.
No, I think that's always there. Why is it not there this year? And when I look back, every year it hasn't been there.
9 years ago.
Yeah,
Oh, God. Old age is a killer, isn't it?
yeah.
Could be worse.
42.
Could be Ollie Jackson's track positioning.
Yeah, I'm the same age as Gamble's bloody number now. which is the number I race with. Numble.
Oh, nice. All ties together.
Yeah.
So, next up for British Touring Cars is Brands Hatch Indy on the 15th of May. So, that'll be a good one. You two will need to cover that on your own.
Yeah, that'll be the hybrid one. Is it going to be used for a whole lap or what?
3-hour podcast special, I think.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are recording and editing it, so good luck.
10-minute episode.
Yeah.
I'm sending you the intro file and then I'm leaving you to it. Because I'm not taking this laptop with me on holiday.
Well, can we just sing it?
You do what you want.
You can if you like.
I'm not here. The boss is out. You guys do what you want. Oh dear. So yeah, a couple of weeks, 2 weeks, I think. 3 weeks, 16 days, 13 hours, 6 minutes and 30 seconds.
Oh, thanks for the
BTCC
update there.
website.
Yeah.
Yep. Very good. So, any more on British Touring Cars before we run through Imola?
I think that covers
Just really enjoyed it. And it was good. It was good to be back.
It was. It was good to see nice weather as well. Because sod's law, I know if I go to a race, it'll be peeing rain. Or it'll be freezing.
It would have been bad if it was raining for the first round, I think, because it really would be impossible to tell if the hybrid's doing what. I think it just would be harder.
Yeah.
So, on Imola, we'll just quickly run through this one because we're already at an hour. First sprint of the year, Max Verstappen took the qualifying first place with Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris in third, before the actual sprint was won by Max with Charles in second. Perez managed to get up to third with Sainz in fourth after Sainz had binned it in qualifying. Big thing at qualifying and sprint was how bad the Mercedes were. My prediction that they'd be great at Imola was completely wrong.
Yeah. I got the Jake Hill prediction wrong. You got the Formula 1 prediction wrong.
Yeah.
I was on board with you as well, Colin. I was all like, yes, come on.
My logic was great, and then it turns
was.
out that car's worse than I thought.
Yeah.
So, much worse than I thought.
It's just bouncing too much to the point where it's hurting the drivers, isn't it?
Yes.
Where the Ferrari bounces and they're fine with it.
Well, yeah. What's his face? George Russell. I was about to say Bottas there, but it wasn't. George Russell, I think, was having to lift off on the straight during qualifying, and he says that his back and his chest was killing him.
Yeah.
Which
doesn't help breathing, does it? So
No.
No. So yeah, sprint.
Was
Not
interesting.
much really happened.
No, Science did
right.
brilliantly to get up to fourth. That's about it.
I just contradicted both of you, sorry.
Yeah, on you go then. If you enjoyed it more than us.
No, I didn't say I enjoyed it. I said it was interesting. And it was interesting, I felt, because and there was a lot of going on Twitter about this, but I did share that opinion before other people tweeted it and stuff. But you had all the cars mixed order from wet qualifying and all the red flags. We should touch upon Kevin Magnussen's amazing recovery, because he actually spun off in qualifying, didn't he? Was it Aqua Minerale? And then managed to get it going through the gravel. I thought, well done.
Yeah.
But then I thought, is it weird if you cause a red flag, you don't lose your time? Anyway, that's for another time.
Yep.
But
Lando Norris.
Yeah, Lando Norris did that as well. And but you had all the cars then, Carlos Sainz coming and Perez or whatever, came to the field. So then when the race starts, the quick people are at the front. It was a bit like...
Yeah.
I love a Friday evening qualifying and a Saturday race. It's extra, but I'm not sure what the solution is.
They're going to...
Just sort of sapped a little way away from the main race. Well,
Yeah, they do want to potentially run the sprint as a standalone event. Qualifying will dictate the grid for both the sprint and the race.
oh,
This is one of the suggestions for next year.
not sure about that either.
No.
Well, they're trying to go to 6 sprints next year as well.
Yeah.
Oh. Also,
rather than think.
the change this year is that the pole position moniker still goes to the person from Friday evening.
Yeah.
As it should.
As it should, but then in practice it's still slightly odd.
Yeah.
Which either way, do you not think?
Yeah, either way it was weird though, isn't it?
Either way it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, this is the more preferable option, but it still doesn't
I would
make
agree
sense.
with that. Yeah. Yeah, completely.
Joe and Gasly crashed at the start of it, which to me kind of looked like a racing incident, although Joe probably could have given them more space at the top of the hill.
Yeah.
But it was a racing incident, really.
Mm-hmm.
I think what kind of put it down on the weekend for me is that when I saw that Max closed up to Leclerc in the penultimate lap and easily passed him, I just kind of went, well, that's the race
Yeah.
tomorrow then, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there was no jeopardy at that point because I just went, oh well, Red Bull's quick and it's better on its tyres. That's the race.
Yeah, we did a really good drive to get into that position. Constantly pounding him down. But yeah, it was candy from a baby at the end, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was just fortunate and unfortunate that Max got a bad start and Leclerc had a great start.
Yeah, otherwise we would have seen what happened on Sunday, I think.
Right, yeah. I would agree with that.
So jump to Sunday, Leclerc got the bad start, which allowed Perez and Norris to go through. Ricciardo and Sainz then collided at the first chicane, which put Carlos and Beach in the gravel for the second race in a row.
Collided twice as well. They came together on the run into Tamburello and then through it as well.
For me, Ricciardo understeers wide and hits him.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Nothing happens.
Ricciardo.
I mean, Ricciardo's last then anyway, so.
So I was going to say, Ricciardo admitted that it was his fault. He said he's sorry
Which
about
was good.
Yeah, he didn't try and say.
But yeah, exactly that.
Yeah. What confused me about it was Ricciardo braked really early for it, which let Sainz get around the outside, but then he's obviously panicked and lifted off the brake.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Shame, because McLaren's were good. Bottas at the back of Ricciardo and all that, and then Schumacher had like a spin on his own.
Yeah.
Paul from Mick.
Back. Yeah.
But how resilient was the Alfa Romeo to damage?
Yeah.
That front wing was perfect.
There was a bit of a scuff on the nose, that was it, but there was no damage.
When they show the slow motion, it's like it's been given a whack.
But let's know what they used to call the aerodynamic furniture on them these days, so it makes a big difference, I think.
Good point.
Yep, Alonso then picked up big damage, which I think we might have touched Bottas at one point, and then the side of his car flew off, so he retired. Leclerc then took third back up inside the Norris. Every overtake was pretty much a DRS overtake into turn one, apart from George Russell got Magnussen at the top of the hill at the Variante Alta chicane.
Yes, correct. Yes. That was
good. And then, thank you. And then a Bottas took Magnussen again, I think, into the penultimate turn, which I think is 17. Those were the only two overtakes I can remember that weren't at. Turn one was DRS.
I think you're right. It was all...
Rivatsa.
Yeah, I mean, that's Imola.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy the sight of a Formula 1 car driving around there, solo.
Yeah.
It's narrow, it's tight, it's got greenery, it's got curbs, it's historic, it's got a corner named after mineral water, and it's got elevation changes and all this, so it's wonderful. But yeah, just unfortunately, just all you're going to get is the DRS overtake, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Our Imola review, I think 2 years ago, is what bred the famous rigatoni line after we had Acqua Minerale. When we all went all Italian for a random day.
Apparently, I'm just looking here now, and Variante Alta has been renamed Curva Fausto Grassini.
Oh, well, they didn't use that on the commentary at the weekend.
No.
Is it like when they renamed Parabolica last year and everyone
and then everyone ignored
it? Yeah. So Perez then dropped behind Leclerc when Leclerc overcut him, but immediately got the lead. Well, second place back off of Leclerc. Then Charles just does the daftest thing ever. He's it was one of those moments like the Jake Hill one where you're riding on board as it happens, and as soon as he turns in, you're like, no, don't do that. Takes too much of the yellow sausage curve on the inside of Variante Alta.
Curva Fausto Grassini.
That one. Yep, that thing. Spins himself into the barrier, loses his front wing, ends up dropping them down from a podium place, and I think he eventually recovers to 6.
Yeah.
The camera cuts here. Sorry. Tom, on you go. I'll have a moan about the race director
All
after.
right. Yeah, part of me thought, full rally driving, isn't it? 4 wheels off the ground with the corner cut. But part of me thought, would you just stay out with the damaged wing? But it must have been... Oh, they have the data and I don't, right? But
it didn't look
they had a big
badly damaged.
Gap.
Or like, for that late in the race anyway. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. But yeah, then the TV director, as soon as they spun, was trying to rejoin. It cut to Carlos Sainz's face for 15 seconds.
It did.
So, well done, TV director. That's exactly what we want to see. Plus, what I want to see when an overtake is happening is a crowd shot. I want you to cut away from the overtake for a crowd shot every time. I want to see someone in the garage who doesn't react, and I want to see a random crowd shot when something's happening. Are you listening, TV director? This is what I want. Thank you for giving that to me. How crap is that?
Yeah.
All the time. And this one really annoyed me.
I could tell.
Yeah.
The crowd was incredible there, wasn't it? It was very quiet for the last half of the race.
Yeah.
But in the sprint,
Yeah.
you could
Epic.
hear the crowd, and it was just spine tingling.
Yeah. So, Lando Norris gets his first podium in the season.
Well done.
Yep.
Quite an incredible turnaround for McLaren already. Max needed this weekend maximum points, sprint race win, which is now 8 points, fastest lap and race win.
Clean sweep.
Brought him back into contention, I think, because one more retirement would have really put him, he'd have put almost 100 points behind at that point. So he's done well. And yeah, George Russell managed to drag that Mercedes up to 4th.
Epic. I think with that performance.
Yeah, really well done.
Although
He did benefit from everyone else's misfortune.
yes.
Leclerc, Sainz, Bottas had a 12-second pit stop and he was right behind, but he
but
did it, put it forth.
Bottas couldn't even do the straight line overtake,
Yeah.
which frustrated me a little
But
bit.
yeah, they had Nico Rosberg on Sky Sports, so he took every possible opportunity to slate Mercedes and Lewis. Which just annoyed me.
Yeah, which has slipped through onto the internet. Oh, the 4th versus 14 comparison. But as you say there, Colin, you have to be in the right position to make the most of these opportunities, which George certainly did. But there were, I don't know, let's say extenuating circumstances to perhaps 4th
definitely.
place when we can see clear that Bottas was a quicker vehicle.
Yeah, I did like that Nico Rosberg was reporting from a cupboard in his house all
I know.
weekend rather than actually going to the
You
track.
can come on, but just stay away. We don't have to talk to you in between cuts.
Yeah. He's gone for the slightly more PC Jack Villeneuve,
Yes.
isn't
100%. 100%.
he? Yeah. Just a final shout out to Tsunoda in 7th and also both Aston Martins who got the first points of the
Yeah,
season.
very true.
I thought it was really poor from Schumacher again, though, against Magnussen.
He had that moment at the start of the race, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did you hear Vettel's post-race radio where he was asking about Mick?
No.
And then they say, he finished, I don't know where he finished in the end.
Last, basically,
Last.
for the runners.
A lap down. And Vettel was like, but he had a problem though, right? And the guy's like, don't know, wasn't watching.
Yeah.
We did also get to
But-
witness Lando Norris singing happy birthday to his engineer's mum.
Yes, that was awesome. Did you not think that was a bit awkward as
Yeah,
well? Like,
I know.
the engineer's still pressing it on. It's like, all right.
Yeah, I thought Lando handled it very well, but
Yeah.
it did make me laugh.
So about cake. What I would say is that Perez, double his contract money now because he did keep Leclerc in the right place, I think, for the majority of the race. And also because you can be slow around the rest of the circuit, but the Red Bull's so quick in the straight line, it's fine. And then also Albon didn't get any points, but his defensive driving kept Hamilton further down the order, I think. And who was in between Hamilton and
Gasly.
Albon? Gasly, yeah. So they couldn't. Or is it a case of Gasly being too tentative, like in Melbourne with the overtaking? Not sure.
Gasly was behind him for about 50 laps
Yeah.
and just never got it done. I think Perez has got that drive next year already.
Oh, yeah.
He's nailed
Unless
on.
he does something stupid for the rest of the season, I can't see him doing
Why
anything
wouldn't
else.
he? Yeah.
Plus, he's only 5 points behind Max, so he's still in his own title fight for at least a few more rounds.
Let's all pretend that. Yeah.
So, yeah, Leclerc's lead's cut. And next up, we're at Miami for the first ever United States Grand Prix. Or not the United States Grand Prix, the Miami Grand Prix.
Really excited to see a new track. It's a street track.
Did you see the harbour that they've got? They've shipped a lot of boats in on the back of lorries and they're building like a...
Really?
They're building like a wooden painted blue harbour in the middle of the track.
Yeah.
Yeah, with these yachts and everything just placed on punt.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to get the Monaco look without actually having any of the water.
Oh dear.
I don't know. It's poor, but it's making someone money. So
Love a new track though.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yep. So that'll be next weekend. Yes, next
Nice.
weekend. Right before I'll go away and leave you on your own. So we'll be back for that in 2 weeks' time. Any more from you guys?
It was a good weekend of racing apart from the Formula 1.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Normally the F1 coverage would be a bit longer, but we focus on British Touring Car because it's more fun.
Oh, yes.
This week at least.
Yeah.
But back with our usual F1 next week. Thank you all for downloading. If you enjoyed this, please share it. Leave us a good review. Don't leave us a crap review. If you've got bad opinions, keep them yourself or let us know on Twitter. Just don't
tweet,
put it in a
tweet
review.
the bad opinions because it's constructive, but
Yeah,
leave a
don't
positive
put it in a
review.
review.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes, please. We're on Twitter at Final Corner Pod. I'm on Twitter at Bar66. Tom, you are?
At Tom H. Lord.
Nick, do you want any followers or are you okay?
I think I've only got about 3 anyway. But yeah, I am at Manor House. You can spell it.
MANORHOWZE.
Well done.
And we'll be back for F1 in a couple of weeks' time. So thank you and goodbye.
See ya.
See you later.
I feel like Jeremy Paxman there. Thank you and goodbye.